In this video, we're going to be discussing how to overcome imposter syndrome. We're going to dive deep on where does it come from, what it really is, and how we can beat it. Hi, I'm Andy. I'm the co-founder of Movement Formula. We're an all-in-one business coaching system where we help online coaches start, launch, and scale their own online businesses. Now let's face it, because the fact is we actually all face it, that no matter where you are in life, the big bad wolf of imposter syndrome actually creeps in. And what it does, it starts to cast doubt on us and makes us start to second guess ourselves. But after this video, we're going to be able to control him. How does that sound? So the first thing what we want to do is understand, where does imposter syndrome actually come from? Because here's what's funny. It's often when we begin to step out into our greatness, when we begin to step forward in our mission, our vision, our dreams, that's when it starts to creep out, right? It's every time that we do something new. And here's the funny thing. It's because usually our anxiety is a little bit high. We don't feel centered and secure. And usually because we're doing something new, it's kind of funny. When our knowledge is low, our anxiety is high. And so we've got to improve our knowledge and offset that. But that's when imposter syndrome kind of starts to peek their head out there a little bit. It whispers that little negativity in your ear, like whether you can or can't do this, or you're not good enough, or they're going to laugh at you. You feel a little bit exposed. I don't know if any of that really sounds familiar to you or not. If it does, let me know down in the comments. Now, the second thing what we want to do is understand, what is it really? What is imposter syndrome? And now, I hate to say this to you, and please just bear with me on this. I'm only here to inform you. I'm not here to offend you. Okay, imposter syndrome, it's really just fear, right? Because we're scared of judgment. It's fear stepping out, that when that quote unquote phrase imposter syndrome sets in, really what it is fear is setting in. We're not quite sure, our confidence isn't quite there, and we're second guessing ourselves. So when you start to think imposter syndrome, really have to dive deep and pause and go, wait a second, where am I feeling vulnerable right here, right? What is it about this that makes me feel maybe weak? We talked about a little bit earlier about, the knowledge being, when knowledge is low, anxiety is high. It's, again, when we're stepping out into our greatness, it starts to creep in, right? When we're doing something kind of new, we start to second guess, right? Or even on the flip side, if things are going exceedingly well, you're like, oh my God, this is going too good, right? It's that fear of something wrong, of impending doom can happen, right? That we're going to look silly, we're not going to look smart enough, we're going to mess something up, we're going to stutter on video. You can think of all those things where it makes you start to second guess yourself, because really it's just fear. And it's oftentimes, if you poke a hole deeper, it's about feeling vulnerable in some way. And so you have to ask yourself, think about it. If you've ever felt imposter syndrome, have you ever felt it when you were scared after going after your dream? Was it when you were pursuing something you wanted to get done, you wanted to do, but when you're in the moment, the element of it, was that when it started to creep in a little bit? I'd like to know, so drop down in the comments, let me know, when was the time that maybe you started to feel that thing called imposter syndrome? And be brave and be bold, because I promise you, everyone goes through it, so you're not alone. And by commenting down below, other people can see that, and so we can all reaffirm each other that it's okay to feel how we feel. It's what we do and how we respond with it that the magic can take place. Now, the number 3 step in this, and this is the fun one, is how do we beat the elusive wolf of imposter syndrome? And really it comes down to just taking action. We've got to recognize it by its name. If we understand what is it that's making us feel vulnerable, what is that innate fear that's behind it, we can call it by name, right? Like an animal, if you don't have the name for the animal, it's hard for it to respond to you. We have to give it a name. We have to identify it. But also we overcome it by taking action, okay? And realize this, and don't think that I downplay the fact that when you do something new, it's not hard. It's usually, that's kind of goes with it. When things are hard, usually means they're new, right? When it's new, it's hard. And that kind of, again, goes to that same underlying principle of when knowledge is low, anxiety is high. But by taking action, by moving forward and being brave, even though it's in spite of and because of, that's where courage is, right? It's moving forward in the face of fear. Our knowledge starts to grow and our anxiety starts to go, right? Knowledge starts to grow, anxiety starts to go. So essentially what it is we have to start, as funny as it sounds, be comfortable being uncomfortable, right? We have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And I can promise you've actually done this in your life, whether you realize it or not, many, many times. What it was is when you were a child, we had childlike adventures. Like if you reflect back, when we were a kid, we were pretty carefree about a lot of things. Nothing was impossible. Anything could be done. We saw no danger around us, right? Because we were free from judgment, free from ridicule. We were free from fear because we hadn't experienced life. And that's what's kind of interesting about life as we grow up. Life hits us, life can beat you up a little bit, and then you start to become aware of things, which in turn can make you second guess and doubt yourself and start to think that whole elusive imposter quote syndrome, which is really fear and vulnerability speaking to you, but instead kind of re-invoke that childlike adventure when you take action and go and understand it may not be perfect. It may not work out like exactly to the letter, to the T, but that's okay because that's part of the quote adventure, right? And so it's being carefree in our adventure, in our pursuit of, and actually you can start to flip it around where it makes it kind of fun, right? Where it's like, man, it's exciting. Like, whoa, that was intense, but I did it anyways. And you can actually like reward yourself moving through it instead of being blocked despite of it, right? So please take a moment and comment your biggest takeaway from this video. What was the biggest aha you got from understanding about imposter syndrome, about what it is, where it comes from, and how to beat it? I'd like to know what your biggest takeaway was from there. And if you've liked this video and you're a coach looking to start, scale, and launch your own online coaching business, we actually have a very simple solution already in place that's going to remove a lot of the headache tech barriers that oftentimes people encounter whenever they start to build their business. They realize all the different assets that they need. But what we're able to do is actually help you run your whole entire coaching business from one single platform, making things simple so you don't have to be so divided. So instead, you get to stay in your zone of genius and automate your business because that's what your business should do. Your business should be working for you instead of you working for your business. And you can see what all it is, how to get started, and if it makes sense to you at movementformula.com. And also make sure to drop a like and subscribe on this video. The like lets us know, it's kind of like a signal flare in the air that says this video was of value to you, but subscribing allows you to see all the future videos that we put out because we put out videos on a weekly basis and to help empower you as an online coach to start, scale, and grow your own online business so that through you we can impact the world and make it a more beautiful and better place.